Okay, so welcome to the fourth meeting of our algebra seminar, and today we have Axel Osmond, and he's going to talk about towards a two-dimensional spectral construction. And Axel, it's your time. Introduce yourself, and you can start.
Okay, thank you. So thank you all of you for being there for this talk. And also thanks to Ivan for the invitation to speak at this seminar. So I am Axel Osmond, working at IRIF at University of Paris Diderot, and I want to talk to you about first the notion of spectral construction and the extension I am working on of this theory to capture doctrine and syntax semantic duality. So duality is a prominent pattern in mathematics, and especially the dualities between algebra and space, which allow one to use spatial intuition in algebra and so on, or also to use algebraic tools to do geometry. And in particular, among those are the syntax semantics duality, either for propositional logic or for first-order logic, which relate syntax, theories, and their category of models. So spectral duality has been constructed to encompass some examples as Grothendieck duality for commutative rings, or also a variant of Stone duality for distributive lattices or propositional algebra as mid-semi lattices and so on. And there are also a bunch of examples coming for algebraic geometry or propositional logic and so on. So the general template for this duality is an adjunction between a functor called spectrum and a functor of global section. So the idea is that you start with with a category of algebraic-like objects, which are model of a certain theory, essentially algebraic theory, and among them, you distinguish a certain class of objects you call local, that behave in some sense as a point-like object, and you distinguish also a factorization system coding for maps that have a geometric content and maps that are purely algebraic content. And when you have those information, you can construct a notion of spectrum that send an object into a certain category of a category of structured spaces, which are spaces endowed with sheaf of object, of algebraic object, that behave locally as local objects and have a good notion of morphism between them. So, in particular, all those geometry are defined relatively to a certain shows of local data, which are not just the category of ambient object, but also the local object behaving as point, what we call, and the class of factorization system, which are on the right local arrows behaving as a purely algebraic map, and étal arrows on the left behaving as dual of algebraic class, of algebraic map. And the idea is that the structural sheaf must behave locally as a local object, and in particular, the way that those local data must be related is encompassed by the notion of multi-reflection.
Can you focus on an example for a moment, just to tell us?
And I will give a bunch of examples, but for instance, in the Grothendieck duality for ring, the ambient objects are ring, the local objects are local rings, and the local arrow are conservative ring morphism, while the étal one has localization of ring. And so there is a different way to abstract this construction that have been proposed in a quiet independent setting. So, and in the first part of this talk, I will present the idea beside this construction and how we process to do the construction of spectra. But also, what I want to do is to extend it for syntax semantics duality, because the leading idea is that this construction of spectra is suited for Stone-like dualities, which are propositional syntax semantics dualities, and they correspond. We know that it's folklore that Stone-like propositional dualities have a first order corresponding dualities. And in the context of first order dualities, we have already a notion of classifying topos that behave in some way in an analog way as the spectrum. And what I want to do is to subsume this notion with a more general notion of two-dimensional spectrum. So in the first part, I will present the construction of spectra in a one-dimensional setting. Then I will give a bunch of stone-like examples and build analogy with syntax semantics dualities. I will give also some topological intuition of first-order doctrine and so on. And after that, I will go into the tentative to construct two geometry, and in particular for doctrine classifying fragment of logic as lex, regular categories, or coherent categories. But all of this is part of fresh ongoing work, so it will be far for its definitive form, and any remark or comment will be also very welcome. So just first, I will recall a bit about the way we use the syntax, the way we use syntactic site and classifying topos and so on, because it's part of the technology for the one-dimensional case. So if we so for the first part, we fix an essentially algebraic theory T, also a finite limit theory. Then to it, we can associate a syntactic site, which is a lex category coding for the formula of this theory and the probably functional symbol between them. And in particular, model of the essentially algebraic theory just are lex functor from the syntactic site to set, sending a formula to the set of witness of this formula in the given model. Now, the model of lex category are or finite limit theory are form a locally finitely presentable category. So in which you have a filtered colimit, arbitrary colimit, and in which any object is constructed by a filtered colimit of finitely presented object. And there is the famous Gabriel-Ulmer duality between lex and locally finitely presentable categories. In particular, if you have a finitely presentable category, you have a generator of finitely presented object that is dual of the syntactic site of the theory beside your LFP category, and any finitely presented object is presented by a certain formula, and reciprocally, any formula present, any lex formula present a finitely presented object, and finitely presented object co-represent witness of their presenting formula in arbitrary object. And you have also the notion of classifying topos for T. So this is just the preshift topos over the syntactic site, and it comes from the notion of the Diaconescu theorem, telling you that a model seen as a lex functor extends to a Yoneda embedding into a geometric morphism from set into the topos of preshift over the syntactic site. Now, you have also, I will consider more geometric theory, more general theory that are just geometric theory, so in which you allow conjunction, existential, and arbitrary disjunction. And we know that those theories have a finite limit part, and when you also can consider a geometric extension of a given finite limit theory, which is just a geometric theory whose finite limit part is your ambient finite limit theory. And when you consider a geometric extension, this corresponds to a Grothendieck topology on the syntactic side of the finite limit part of the theory. And morally, the Grothendieck topology code for the disjunction of sequence inside of the geometric extension. And now models are just lex functor that send covering family of the logical topology on jointly epimorphic family in set. And by Yoneda lemma is just express those objects as object inside of the ambient category of model of the finite limit part of the theory as objects that have an extension property relatively to the dual of covering family telling you that if you have a finitely presented object and a cover and a map into an object F, then F is a model of the geometric extension if there is a lift for one member of the cover. And morally, they just say that points just is when they lie into an union of open, just need to lie in at least one open in the cover. So there is a way to translate the Grothendieck topology, the Grothendieck topology into a geometric extension, but I have no time to go into the detail. But you have also a Diaconescu theorem for arbitrary geometric theory, telling you that you have a notion of classifying topos for a geometric theory, which is just which can be taken as a shift topos over the syntactic site of the finitely present, the finite limit part of the theory, and the Grothendieck topology coding for the geometric extension. And now the problem is to understand how we could have a notion of a free object for geometric theory. For finite limit theory, we have a notion of free object. You can take something which is not a model and force it to become a model in a canonical way. But for geometric extension of a theory, this is not the case. If you take an object, a model of the ambient finite limit theory, there is not an unique way to force it to become a local object. But you have rather a cone of local objects that are candidates for being the free local object, and jointly they assume this property, but there is a defect of unicity. And the purpose of the spectrum is to change the topos in which you live and construct a topos in which you can gather all those locally free local objects under a given object B into a coherent sheaf of local objects that will play the role of the free local object under B. But you can't do this directly. You need some factorization data to do this, to separate what is properly geometrical and what is properly algebraic. So just I recall a bit, a factorization system so is the data of a right and left class, which have some cancellation properties that are symmetric. And in locally finitely presentable category, we can in particular give interest into factorization systems that are finitely generated, that are generated on the left, but what we call a saturated class. This will be just a class of finitely presented map with some good cancellation properties. And we can use it to generate a factorization system by taking as etalmap filtered colimit of a basic etalmap in the saturated class, and the right class just need to be tested relatively to the finitely presented etalmap. So morally, the idea is that the map in the generator are like a dual of operation of the function symbol of the language of the theory that create a witness of a codomain formula from witness of a domain formula, and the map on the right, the local map, are the ones that reflect objects created this way. For instance, in Grothendieck duality, étal arrows are localization. They create they take a non-zero element and they create a new inverse for those elements. And local arrow are contrario, a map that reflect invertibility, that do not create new inverse. So now the notion of geometry is a locally finitely presentable category in which you choose a saturated class determining a left-generated factorization system and a coverage on the generator that is on the syntactic category of the underlying finite limit theory, which is generated by map in the saturated class generating your factorization system. That is, you take a topology which is made of etalmap. From now, I will call the left map etal and the right map local every time. So, and morally, those etalmap will be seen as the basic etalmap will be seen as a dual of compact open inclusion, and we will give interest into local form under a given object that will be mapped from this given object into a local object, which are etal map for a given object into a local object. And we want to see those local form as a point of the geometry. So now, in particular, we want to have a bit of topological intuition about what are the local objects and so on. So to see this, first observe that we can extend the localizing topology defining local object on the whole category by pushing covering family under arbitrary object. And in this context, in particular, local object will have covers themselves, and the property of being local just is a property of lifting its own cover. And this is very reminiscent of the notion of focal space in topology. Because what is a focal space? A focal space is a space which has an initial point in the specialization order. And the property of this space is that if you want to cover them through open subset, then at some point necessarily one of those open set is the whole space itself, because you want to capture the initial point, but as open as always closed by specialization order, the open capturing this one actually is the complete space. So this gives you a kind of dictionary between the algebraic side and the spatial side, which is just actually the opposite category, in which object and algebraic construction and so on actually behave as a spatial object, as a space, a focal space, and inclusion of a point, or and so on. And the relation between the local data and the ambient object can be abstracted by the notion of multi-adjunction. So a multi-adjunction is like, in particular, a multi-reflection. And a multi-reflection is a bit like an ordinary reflection, but you have a problem of unicity. It's a situation when you have you have identity, units under a given object, but rather having a unique unit, you have several units. You have a small cone of a unit who jointly behave as the unit of an adjunction, but none of them is sufficient to factorize any map from B into an object of the reflective subcategory. And in particular, we are going to consider non-full multi-reflective category. And when you have a geometry, then the local object have a certain gliding property relatively to local map. That is, if you have a local map into a local object, then the domain of this local map itself has to be local. In some sense, local objects are a fibration relatively to the local map, and the consequence of that is that if you take an arrow from B into a local object and take its factorization by an étale and a local map, then the intermediate object necessarily is itself a local object. In some sense, it just says that if you want to send a point into a space, then the point in particular define inside of its image a local object, a focal component inside of the space you send it in. And in particular, so the category of local object and local map between them is multi-reflective, is a non-full multi-reflective subcategory of your ambient category of algebraic object. And as I told, and in particular, the local form under a given object exactly are the unit of the adjunction. And the interest of this method is that it can be lifted in actually for model of the ambient theory into arbitrary Grothendieck toposes, not just set. And because this category of model will inherit the factorization system, the same property of absorption of local object, and we will have topos-wise multi-reflection as we have in set. And now the purpose of the spectrum is to transform the topos-wise multi-reflection into a global reflection. So to do that, you have to consider all models of the ambient theory conjointly, regardless of the base topos. And this is the purpose of the category of T-modeled toposes that are topos equipped with a sheaf of B object, a model of T inside of them, and a good notion of morphism between them.
Can I stop you one moment? In the previous slide,
yeah.
So when you say that you have a factorization system, you have the factorization system in the topos, not in your category of models.
No.
In the logic that you have the factorization system.
I have the factorization system in the category of model of the theory. Yeah, in the category of model of the theory, and actually I have this in any Grothendieck topos, more in the category of model over any Grothendieck topos. Actually, those étale and local map will just be pointwisely étale and local. This is the object there will be sheaves, and you can test localness and étaleness just of those of a map between sheaves. Object-wisely. This is the idea, in fact. And now you have, amongst the T-modeled toposes, you have a subcategory, a non-full subcategory of locally modeled toposes, which are topos in which you have a model of the geometric extension, and amongst them, you have maps that behave correctly as local arrow between them. And now the inclusion, the non-full inclusion of locally modeled topos as an adjoint, a global adjoint, which is the spectrum. And now I want to show you how we construct the spectrum. Just a word before. In the case where you restrict you to model inside of B, you still have a good notion of adjunction between the same spectrum functor and the global section functor that take a sheaf of local local object, which globally looks like an ordinary sheaf of a B object into B. So now, how do you construct the spectrum of an object B inside of your category? So you take your B, you take all the finitely presented étale map under it. Those are just push out of finitely presented étale map in the generator of the factorization system. And you can also push the family of the Grothendieck topology defining the local object under those étale map. And actually, this gives you a Lex site. And the object of this site could be seen as are exactly the finitely presented étale map under B. And you could see them as the basic compact open of the topology of the spectrum of your object B. The spectrum being just the sheaf topos over this site. And now, in particular, if you take an object inside of it, a finitely presented étale map, then you have an étale geometric morphism associated to it over the topos. Morally, the objects of the site are compact open, and filtered colimit of basic étale map, none are not open, but saturated compact in the topology of the spectrum. And in particular, amongst them, there are the points, which are the point, which are exactly the point of the spectrum as a topos. And by Yoneda lemma, you can check that those are exactly the local form under B. Morally, so at the level of point, the étale geometric morphism associated to a finitely presented map give you a discrete equilibration of the category over the category of point of the spectrum. And if you take a local object, its spectrum is a local topos. So now, yes, and just a word about the structural sheaf. On the spectrum, you can, thanks to the codomain functor, you can construct a sheaf modulo simplification.
Yes? Sorry, one question. So what you are doing is you take a category of models, so say groups, and to every group you associate a topos. So what you are creating is a stack at the end of the day.
Yeah, actually, in some sense, at some point there is a stack, but it's not the way we do this because we process object wisely for each object, and I would say that objects of the ambient category behave as generalized open or compact saturated, and local objects are some kind of a generic point, and you combine them by going into slices and so on. So, but now, if you take an algebraic object, B, you can construct a spectrum, and over the spectrum, you have a distinguished sheaf of B object, which is just the sheafification of the codomain functor that take an étale map to its codomain. And actually, this, the stalk of this sheaf just are the local object involved into the local form under a given object B. And this behave as a free local object under B. And in particular, when your localizing topology is subcanonical, then you have a global section functor. The global section functor return you your original object B as the object of global section of the structural sheet. So, and in particular, you can extend this construction for arbitrary object, arbitrary model in arbitrary topos. The idea is that if you have a topos which is a site C and G, then a T model inside of it is a sheaf of B object, of set-evaluated B object. So to construct the spectrum, you take the spectral site of each of the set-evaluated T model over each object of the site, and this gives you a stack, and you apply Giro theory of classifying topos of a stack to construct the spectrum, which is the classifying topos for this stack. Now, I go into examples. I have presented you the general theory. So now a bit of examples, of prominent example, I will use to develop geometric intuition for the first order context. So, for instance, for stone duality, we construct a Zariski geometry. To do that, the local object we need for stone are the local lattice. Those are lattice where one is the prime filter, and the morphism are the one conservative morphism, that is morphism whose fiber at one is one, who don't force new object to become one. And one can check that the inclusion of local lattice and one conservative map into the category of distributive lattices is multi-reflective. And now the geometry associated to that is given by the factorization system constituted of minimal quotient at one, which are quotient that are initial amongst the quotient with a given filter as the class of one, because you know in distributive lattice are not a congruence regular. That is, several congruents can share the same class at one, for instance, and and so in this case we take the minimal one, the one that destroy as the least possible the global lattice when doing the quotient. And you can define a localizing topology for the local lattices, and this geometry actually return you a version of a stone duality in which, rather than having the compact open functor taking the basis of the topology of a stone space, you take rather the global section of a canonical structural sheaf associated to a stone space. And the Zariski site in this geometry of a distributive lattice is just constituted of the finitely presented quotient at element of D, that is the minimal congruence forcing an element to become one in the quotient, and compact open, saturated compact are quotient at arbitrary filters. And this site, one can check that this site is actually an ordinary poset, and even this poset is just the opposite lattice of D. The Zariski topology is inherited by this D is just the frame of ideal over D, and the compact, the saturated compact are just the filter, as I said, and amongst them, the point are the prime filters. And also, you could have just a word to say that you could have proceeded in the opposite way by replacing everything that I said about one with zero. And this would give you what we call the Kozariski geometry, the Kozariski topology, and there is the corresponding geometry for this Kozariski topology. And actually, this is part of what we call Horster duality for distributive lattices. And in fact, one can recognize that it is just some kind of Isbell duality for distributive lattices, for a given, as it is some kind of posetal Isbell duality at a given distributive lattices. And at some point, I would expect that there is an analog phenomenon for coherent categories, but I still not have something concrete at this point. So now I want to tell you about another class of example, which is Gibson and Mosher duality. So this is a duality between inf semi-lattices and a certain class of space called Hoffman-Mislov-Stralka spaces, which are space in which you have a basis for the topology given by compact open filters that are upset for the topology, which are compact and open. And an Hofmann-Milnov-Straka spaces is a space in which this form a basis for the topology closed by finite intersection. And it is funny because those Hofmann-Milnov-Straka spaces have some properties that are reminiscent of locally finitely presentable categories, because they have a focal point, a terminal point. They have directed join of point for the specialization order. Actually, they even have any join and meet of point for the specialization order. That is, the underlying set of point is a complete lattice, and any compact open filter of the space have a focal point. Actually, so this is part of Gibson and Mosher duality between M semi-lattices and HMS spaces. You can construct it just by taking the filter of the M semi-lattices and the basis of the HMS spaces. And there is a geometry for this, which is given by the same factorization system as for distributive lattices, but there is no topology because actually any Hofmann-Milnov-Straka spaces is local, is focal in some sense. So there is no need to choose a local object. Any object is local. And if you put all the properties of this duality side by side, you exactly recognize a very striking correspondence between Gabriel-Ulmer duality and Gibson and Mosher. In fact, Gibson and Mosher is just the first order, the propositional version of Gabriel-Ulmer. And there is a very neat correspondence between them. And this is part of a more general pattern of correspondence between first order dualities and propositional one. For instance, Gibson and Mosher and Gabriel-Ulmer. The duality of Kuber-Rositzky for regular and exact category, for which actually I don't know equivalent in the Possetal world, but whatever. Stone correspond to dualities for coherent theories. There should be also dualities for 18 categorifying Essakya duality for 18 algebras, and there is the duality for frame that was successfully lifted to categories by Ivan in his thesis. So now this invites us to have a notion of two spectrum for first order dualities, as well as we have a spectrum for propositional dualities. So
sorry, I have to say, in the case of one which you attributed to me, one of the two functors was defined by Gardner. I defined the other one, and I proved that there is an adjunction and it is idempotent.
Yeah, but as far as I know, it is your thesis that this appeared in this way.
Yes. No, Gardner only found one of the adjoints.
Yeah. So just to develop a bit this idea, just some fibrational and topological interpretation of what is going on in semantics when you have a geometry. So take a geometric theory classified by a subcanonical site, and take an object in C, coding for a formula of your theory. Then this object define an evaluation functor sending a model of the theory to the set of witness of the given formula into this model. And if you take the Grothendieck construction of this functor, this gives you a discrete vibration over the category of models. And actually, this is a discrete vibration corresponding to the eta geometric morphism. When you quotient, you take the slice of the classifying topos as the representable sheaf corresponding to this object. And what is interesting in that is that it lifts the intuition that open are closed by under the specialization order, are up closed for the specialization order, because in a discrete vibration, so you will have a witness if you have a model and a witness of a certain formula of a witness that a formula is a neighborhood, an open neighborhood of a point, then it is like a witness, an object in the category of element over X. And if you have an arrow coding for the specialization order into another model X prime, then it sends the witness into another witness for the same formula over the codomain. This just says that open are up closed for the specialization order. And now, a bit some word about doctrine and their geometry. So different doctrine coding for different fragments of logics already have something which is very close to a notion of spectrum, which is a classifying topos. So if you, for instance, if you have a finite limit theory, then it is classified by the Prešív topos over its syntactic site, which is Lex, and the point are the Lex functor. For regular category, for regular theory, it is classified by some regular category with the regular coverage, and the point are the regular functor from the syntactic site to set. A coherent theory is classified by a topos over a coherent site, that is a coherent category with the coherent coverage, and you could take as model the functor that preserve regularity and finite coproduct. And all those toposes, all those sites are subcanonical, which means that object coding for formula always define opens. But now we want to understand to what extent those basic open, have a focal point. So in the case of Lex, in part, so just a bit a word, it resumes to the question to know for a given object phi, defining an open coded by the representable functor Yoneda phi. When does the co-representable functor, the other Yoneda phi, this one, define actually a point? So in the case of Lex, it is always true because any co-representable is Lex. So it means that any basic compact has a focal point, which is the finitely presented model coding for the same formula. In the case of the regular categories, it is not anymore true. Actually, only projective object in your regular category C define a point in their focal point for their for the corresponding compact open. And in coherent category, you have even less of them. Only objects that are undecomposable have this property. And what I am considering that is because I want to understand what should be the notion of a local theory to do geometry and defining a notion of local theory amongst theory of a certain shape and characterize them. And as much as a local object were defined as morally having a focal point, I take as local theory in this context with enough point theories that have an initial model. So, and in particular, so any Lex theory is one of them, is local. But for a regular category, for instance, is not anymore true. So any regular category where one is projective have this property. And in for coherent category, only coherent category where one is indecomposable have this property. And in this case, their classifying topos is local. So what is a local topos? A local topos is a topos whose terminal map over set has an initial section. Morally, this initial section is exactly the initial point of the category of point of your topos. And now I just actually I would tell that local topos in some sense are the generic notion of local object, and any geometry actually refer to them in some sense, because if you have a geometry, then the local object define local topos in the define a local topos. Sorry. Yes, so that yes, so that they are in some sense the local object in a certain geometry on toposes, but I don't want to go into this because it's another subject. But just a bit of a word about how local toposes and étale geometric morphism are related. So if you take an étale geometric morphism and a geometric morphism into E, as this way, then you have a factorization through the étale geometric morphism exactly as many times as you have global element in the fiber of your geometric morphism at the object over which you do the étale geometric morphism. That is, you have those factorizations are indexed by the category of element of the geometric morphism. This allows you to see actually the category of element as the category of neighborhood of a geometric morphism. And in particular, if you take f as a point, then it returns you the neighborhood of your given point. And you can do what we call Grothendieck-Verdier localization as a point P, which is just, if you have a point P, then its category of element is co-filtered. And you can do the co-filtered limit of étale geometric morphism indexed by the object of the category of element. And this is some way the focal component of your topos at this point. And you can also express it in another way by a two-dimensional universal property by exhibiting the Grothendieck-Verdier localization as the pullback of the universal domain map of your topos E along the point P. And in particular, this tells you that the point of Grothendieck-Verdier localization at P is exactly the co-slice under P of the point of E. That is, those are data of P and an arrow into another point of E. And this is a discrete occupation over the category of point of E. In some way, Grothendieck-Verdier forces a point to become initial in the localization. In particular, when you have a Lex category, then you can take the classifying topos is the preshift topos over the Lex category, and an étale topos at the representable coded by an object of the site phi is just the preshift topos over the slice of the Lex category at this object phi. And actually, this coincides. This is the étale geometric morphism. This is the site for the étale geometric morphism associated to phi, and it coincides with the Grothendieck-Verdier localization at the finitely presented model coded by the same formula. So in particular, it tells you that the site, the Lex site for this comma LFP, this comma category, this comma LFP category is just the slice of L at phi. And also it tells you that any basic compact open of LFP space have a focal point. So now I want to turn into the two-dimensional spectrum itself. Now I need a bit of two-dimensional technology, for which I am indebted to John Burke, who is amongst us, I think, and also the Australian School of Two-Dimensional Category. Just the context in which I will do this two-dimensional spectral construction is the notion of locally presentable two category. So first, just define an accessible two category. This is a two category which has finitely one filtered two colimit and a generator of finitely presented object generating the other one under one filtered two colimit. And this is funny because actually in this notion, you don't need to consider two-dimensionally filtered colimit. You do two-dimensional colimit, but indexed by one-dimensionally filtered diagram. And this simplifies a bit the process because it, in some sense, that tells you that accessibility modulo some condition of commutation with power with 2 and so on is almost the same as accessibility of the underlying one category. And you have also the notion of locally finitely presentable category, which is just a finitely accessible two category with flexible limit, and in which flexible limit commute with finite flexible limit commute with finitely filtered two colimit. In this context, flexible limit is just the good shape of limit you want to consider. Those are the ones generated by product, inserter, equifier, and splitting of idempotence. And those are the ones in which you don't have to care about problem of strictness and or pseudoness. And in particular, so Lex, Reg, Co, and other doctrine are finitely presentable two categories. And this is a good context to do what I want to do. So there is also a notion of Grothendieck two toposes and two sites due to Street and also well documented by Schulman. So I don't want to get into this definition because it's tedious as is a definition of site and coverage, the one categorical setting. But morally, it's almost the same to some extent as Street pointed it, as a two-Grothendieck topology, on the underlying category. And in this context, a stack morally is something that sends a two-dimensional nerve into a limit diagram. Because I don't want to tell you all the diagram with one separatedness, two separatedness, and so on, because in this context, you have to check for something to be achieved that it is one separated, two separated, and so on. So there is a dimension, an additional dimension in the diagram, in the cover diagram, where you have to check a classical condition and so on. And now a two-topos is a category of stack over some two sites. For instance, the terminal two topos is the two category of large categories with its, and in particular, it has a canonical topology made of jointly essentially surjective object family. In particular, amongst two toposes, there are the ones that are one truncated. So in a one topos, recall that one topos is truncated. What it is actually is the shift topos over a local. That is when it is generated by subterminal object. And in particular, if you take a discrete object in a topos, and if discrete object generate a two topos, then you can tell that this topos is discrete. And it's the same as asking its topos to be of the form over a one-dimensional site. And also there is a notion of a factorization system in two categories, and morally this is almost the same as the factorization system over the underlying one category, but you just have a condition, an additional condition that morphism of commutating square induce morphism between the unique lifting. And unique morphism between the unique lifting. And you also have the same usual property of left and right classes, and I still call them local and étal. And in a locally finitely presentable two categories, you have also some kind of small object argument allowing you to construct a factorization system for a class of finitely presented map, finitely presented étal map, finitely presented map in a certain class with good properties, and it behaves essentially in the same way as a left-generated one-categorical factorization system. So now you can define the notion of two geometry, which will be just a choice of a factorization system on a locally presentable two category, which is left-generated, and a two coverage made of étal arrow of finite presentation. And in this context, a local object will be an object of your ambient two category, which, in some sense, has an injectivity property relatively to the dual of the cover of G. That is, whose representable functor into cat send cover into families that are jointly essentially surjective on object. That is, it is just something that lift a cover exactly as in the one-dimensional case. And nothing more. Because when you say essentially surjective on object, there, you don't ask for an extension of two cells. That is, if you have two cells of this form into an object, then you don't require these two cells. The domain and the codomain of these two cells have extension to object of the cover if B is local, but you don't necessarily require the two cell itself to become to arise from a two self between the extension. So actually, it's just said that local objects in the two categorical sense are almost like a local object in the one categorical sense. But so there is still a bit of a technological problem because it's not exactly clear. I'm not exactly sure that this captures all the notion of point of a two topos because there is no currently, as I know, a two-dimensional Diaconescu theorem. And also, I don't know if there is really a convenient theorem of telling that any two topos has a standard finitely pi complete two site of definition and so on, but it seems fairly legit, so I am optimistic about that. But
Axel, there is a family of papers by some students of Dubuque about the points of two topoi. Are you aware of them?
No, I was not aware. Thank you very much for that. If you could tell me a bit about that later, I would be.
Yes, we can discuss it later.
Yeah, because actually I was based on Schulman and Street essentially, so perhaps indeed I am ignorant of some additional technologies that were developed later, but so I will be very interested by something like this kind. But in my context, in my example, I won't need something like this because actually the two topos I am going to construct as two spectrum will be truncated. So just if I have an object C in my locally finitely presentable two category, let's construct the spectral site, the spectral two site as follow. Take, as in the one-dimensional case, the finitely presented étal map under it, and as a one cell equality between such a finitely presented map, that is just a triangle of étal finitely presented map like this, and as a two cell between finitely presented étal map that is equalized by some étal map from C into this domain into another étal map from C into the codomain. And you can also push in an innocent way the topology on the generator of C under arbitrary object, and this gives you a topology, a two coverage over the spectral site, over this category, and you can define the two spectrum as the category of stock, the category of stack, sorry, over these two sites. And now just a word about how two cells are managed in this context. If you have a globular two cell from a given object C into another object G, you want to understand how these two cells, or the factorization, the étal local factorization of these two cells is transferred into the site. To do that, just you consider the classifier of a map into of B, because any object in LFP category, LFP two category is equipped with such an universal object of arrows of B itself, with an universal domain and universal codomain, and such a two cell induce universally a map into this classifier. And now there is 4 different situations depending on the fact that either the domain or the codomain or both or none of the two those maps are local. So for instance, if both of them are local, then when you have such a cell as before, then the factorization of the domain and the codomain map are the same. It goes because of unicity of factorization actually, and it just says that the factorization in the site, this globular two cell is not distinguished correctly by the site. It is seen by the same object inside of the site, and the two cell part is just transferred into the local part. If the universal domain is local, but not the universal codomain, then you have a situation in which a two cell is sent to an arrow, to covariantly into an arrow between the factorization, the étal part of the factorization inside of the site. And actually, this is reminiscent of what we get, for instance, when we try to do geometries for toposes with connected and local object and so on. You have also the dual situation for totally connected map and so on. And the fourth situation is not very interesting, so I want to go directly to the example. Now I want to construct two geometries to capture the syntax semantic adjunction for different fragments of logic. So I will start with Lex, and to understand what is a good notion of factorization system in Lex I want to have, I will first look at a model of a Lex category, whose category of model is denoted by A, and a model of L in A, an object of A is just has a name, which is LFP functor from set into the category of model, which is the name of this object. This is a pointer of at this model A, and now we can construct the co-slice of A at this point. This is a discrete obfibration which is locally finitely presentable, and you have also the name of the unit of A, which is the initial object of the co-slice, and this is also locally finitely presentable, and this is commutative, and this gives you a factorization in LFP of the name of a model. And actually, this is always an initial functor. And you can see this because it points the initial point of this category. And this is a discrete obfibration. So this is reminiscent of what has been determined as a comprehensive factorization system by Street and Walter, and which consists of initial functor on the left and discrete obfibration on the right. And actually, you can factorize any LFP functor this way by taking the comma category of this functor over A, which is LFP because LFP has a pi's limit, and in particular it has commas, so and also the projection of the commas and so on. So you can do this factorization, and this left part is just the name of the generic name of the unit, that is the functor that sends an object B into the identity of B into the slice. The slice being made of object image, strict image of object of B, sending arrows to object of A. And those are locally presentable. One can check this thanks to the property of F. And now we want to understand how it induces a factorization system on index by looking at what it gives you on the generator, on the underlying generator. So a generator for this comma category is made of span of this form, which are just the name of a an arrow into an object in the strict image of F, form the domain of a finitely presented map in A, in the generator of A, coding morally for some kind of push out, in which you remember which is the object there and which is the FP map there. And you have a way to send an object in the generator of A into a generator of the comma, just by sending it to the trivial span is 0 and k and 1 there. And you have a projection from this generator into this by just forgetting about the object B and just sending the image under the left adjoint of the codomain of the finitely presented formula. And this gives you the factorization in Lex. So this, we call such functor quotient, because they are reminiscent of quotient in the Lex, in the Gibson and Mosher duality, and those one as op initial. And in particular, if I look at the factorization of a finitely presented model corresponding to an object of L of the syntactic the Lex category I am looking at, then the factorization is returns you actually the adjoint of the projection of the slice of L at phi into L, and this adjoint is just the change base functor that take an object to the product with phi and its projection onto phi, and this is Lex because it's commute with limit of course. And so the analogy with Gibson and Mosher there is just that because in Gibson and Mosher we took a finitely presented quotient map forcing a given element to become 1, and there we are forcing an object to become terminal in some sense, in the sense that its unit becomes a new terminal object in the quotient category. And we have the finitely presented quotient in this context are indexed exactly by the object of L, of the Lex category we want to dualize. And now we can construct the spectrum of this Lex category as the category made of all those quotient, finitely presented quotient at an object of L. And amongst them, we have a Lex functor, which actually are just the name of an object in the slice over this object. So actually, there L over phi2 is just like L over phi1 over U. For U, the name of some arrow from phi2 into phi1. And what about two cells? Then actually we are in the case of a local geometry, as I said before. And actually, there are no non-trivial two cells in this site because the quotient functor we are looking at actually are discrete objects in the co-slice. Those are discrete functor in some sense. And the site happens to be actually equivalent to L itself. And so, in particular, if we take the two topos of stack over the spectral site, then actually it is one truncated, and it is equivalent to the topos of presheaves over L itself. And we recognize the classifying topos as an instance of the spectral topos, of a Lex category. We can do almost the same thing with regular and coherent theories. So for them, we take the same factorization system. In particular, we take the same finitely presented étale map. And in some sense, those maps externalize the category into a diagram under it. And now what we have to do is to construct a topology, a two-dimensional topology, localizing the local regular theory that are the one in which one is regular projective. And to do that, actually, we just define the topology as the made of a singleton or just one single quotient as an object that cover one in C, for C finitely presented regular category. And in this context, a regular category is local, exactly, so it has the lifting property relatively to those externalization of regular IP over one. And actually, having a lift is just the same thing for any of such situation. Is just as requiring the terminal element of L as having a section. That is, we require the element of L as being regular projective. We can construct also the spectral site of a regular category exactly by taking the same object as for the Lex case, and the topology just consists of such triangle that are an externalization of a regular IP inside of C. And as for the Lex case, actually, the spectral site of C is just actually it's discrete. It's equivalent to C with the regular topology on it, and the spectrum is truncated. And actually, morally, it's equivalent to the classifying topos of the regular theory. You can do the same thing for coherent theories, actually. And in each case, you have the structural stack associated to the category. And actually, this will be the notion of structural stack over the spectrum as in the one-dimensional case. And this is just the self-indexation of the category over itself. And in the case of Lex, so it is trivially a stack. And for regular and coherent categories, this is also a stack because in regular and coherent categories, the self-indexation always is a stack for the regular and coherent topology. So one could ask now, so in all those cases, we just retrieved the classifying topos of the theories. So you could ask, yes, it is totally useless, actually. It is trivial because you get back a thing we already know. Yes, but in some sense, the interest of this is to try to exhibit the classifying topos as an instance of a more general construction. And moreover, also, this geometry gives you some precise you some information about multi-reflective subcategory of the doctrine coding for fragment of logic, and I have nothing precise about this currently. But Dié, when defining the theory of spectrum associated to a multi-reflection, had a very elegant way to infer topological property of the spectrum from the properties of the functorial properties, functorial specificities of a given multi-reflection. So perhaps it could be helpful to understand a bit more, for instance, the topological property of categories of model, of coherent theories, stuff like this. Also, we could use this method to construct analog of classifying topos for theories living in a more exotic fragment of logic, outside geometric logic, for instance. For instance, we could categorify Dubuc and Poveda duality of MV algebra into something, some notion of spectrum for first order Lukasiewicz logic, even if currently I don't know what is such a first order Lukasiewicz logic, but whatever. We could also replace the local topos, because implicitly we made use of local topos in this method, but we could replace local topos by another notion of locality. For instance, by other local-like topos as totally connected topos who have a terminal point, not an initial, but a terminal point, or also hyperconnected topos that whose localic reflection has just a single point. And the other one are strictly exotical point with automorphism and so on. And this could give rise to exotic notion of semantics, perhaps. And also, so when spec is truncated, it seems to generalize the classifying topos, and also modulo some convenient technology. Perhaps this construction may be suited to construct a spectrum of model of reg, lex, and so on. For instance, internal lex, or regular category, or coherent category in other two topos than cat, or even in ordinary one category. And this is all, and many thanks for your attention.
Okay, so thank you, Axel. Unfortunately, we have silent applause, so you cannot hear the applause. And I invite anyone to ask a question if they have any. Remember, if you want to ask a question, you have to unmute yourself. Otherwise, no one hears you. Okay, so we have no question. And so we thank the speaker again, and the people that were recording can stop recording now.